landscape of the earth. Wind, water, and fire. Farewell! The fate of the world is in your hands!
I'm here to shuffle up the deck. You'll probably think I'm famous cause I got a blue check. I remember playing ball up in Montreal, Quebec. The richest people that I met, they said they really were from Czech. My sales pitch deadly, so you better consult. If I'm a rap, then I figure I would give it my all. Cause I could rock a 16 better than Paul Gasol. I'm like a pager with the shot, with a basketball. I got more love for the game, like Sanaa Lathan. My flow is game changing, like an audible from Peyton Manning. Good luck to my haters, because success is taken. I got a nice career going, I got some nice money. If I don't follow my dreams, it will forever haunt me. My only option might be playing in another country. I started from a city where it's sunny, crummy. I started from the bottom, it was nothing. I don't need no type of recognition. If anything, I'll get suspended for the views that I'm spitting because it causes friction. They'll probably say that I'm speaking in reprehension like LeBron when he left Cleveland. I don't need any permission to express my feelings. I dreamed it, this is my premonition. They try to recondition Christians through these new inventions. The reinvention of religions through these televisions. Shit is different, I ain't with it cause the shit is wicked. I'ma weather the storm, I'll never surrender. Learning from my ancestors that took the fall like September. My skin color getting judged like fat versus slender. If I was transgender, I'd get praised like Bruce Jenner. I'm not here to judge cause in the end, we all sinners. At least in God's eyes, the only vision, a real mirror. Take them blinders off and you'll see a lot clearer. It's not about yourself, you gotta see the bigger picture. Yeah. Hold up. If money is happiness, then why is it suicides? Are they stressing from bills or a loan that was subsidized? When I turn the news on, only bullshit gets publicized. Neglection of different wars, skin colors and genocides. Is it conspiracies or is it organized? Good people get crucified, the evil gets sanctified, glorified through the media and the clothing lines. Why when I ask these questions, people look so surprised. Gotta question everything like Joel Osteen's mansion. Some people wondering why people getting held for ransom. Endorsements of violence in every single rap anthem. That's the key to making your album go platinum. It's easy to make money, but it's harder not to spend it. We all guilty of it, it's a constant hypnotism. I guess it's safe to say that I'm the new renegade. I wanna dedicate my music to the people that always hate. On the track of Ruler Y, only the strongest survive. Yeah. Jay Kirk, let's make it work.
Now that we're competing with those amateurs, we can't afford to invest in little extras like story, production value, feelings. New technology permits us to do very exciting things in interactive entertainment. Wave of the future, dude. 100% electronic. All I'm saying is, I want mine.
Hey, don't ride that horse. Go on, get on down there now. It's all right.
He's reported to have disappeared while traveling in Europe in June 1969.
Yeah. I do damage to a broad's head. Under Southern Killer Cali, SF, the car's bad. Rare breed, then I hit the Panama red. The lamb's red, can't stand y'all weed, so take it personal. Worst of all, it's not the purple, no. Or the power of the sour diesel, I prefer to smoke. Burn it slow, cause the joint's so oily. They can't ignore me or destroy me. It'll take 4 weeks just to get your feet hot stepping. To a veteran who got weapons of thought. Not Thomas Jefferson or Edison. Fuck the medicine box, I'll be the grand geometrician. See your position in feeble condition. Defeating his plots in your mind like a needle addiction. Read the inscription and key the ignition. We on a mission. All seeing eye, keep it wet like a baby Christian. Pay attention, face 80 henchmen in their division. Hostile ground, but I ain't afraid to get hit up. Get up, get up.
They take frequent trips to the moon. I notice none of you have been invited. How do you think you're going to exist?
What's that crystal thing in your hand?
Live from Oakland, California. From Oakland, California. As you are probably aware, several local mystics have predicted a landing from space this afternoon here at this spot opposite the Sector 5 government building in the person of a black musician and thinker named...
Come on, what is this? What about it? You think you're ready for me?
Are you ready to alter your destiny?
It ain't your sign, it's your mind. It ain't your sign, it's your mind.
The battle of wizards and warriors continues with iron swords. The evil wizard Malkill will take the shape of the earth, wind, water, and fire. Farewell! The fate of the world is in your hands!
All right, we're here. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Hi There Show. I am Nick Brunt, joined as always by Ian Conrad. What up, Ian?
Hey, Nick.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm pretty good.
It's been a little while since we've been live.
Yeah, we got sweaters on. The air is cooling down. Vacation season's over.
Yeah, we're both wearing seasonal sweaters.
Which
it is pumpkin spice season, I think.
Yep.
It might actually be. I think Starbucks put out like a press release that was like, it's time. Gross. They're super gross. Welcome back to the Hi There Show. This is a UX design show. We like to play around in Figma and make cool stuff on the stream. And as Ian mentioned, we're back a couple weeks later here.
Yeah, a little bit of a hiatus for vacation season. You know how it goes in the world of tech design and agency stuff.
It's a lot of like, being on boats and doing exclusive, deals.
Waiting an extra week and for people to get back from vacation to kick something off. And
yeah, did you ever see that Aaron Sorkin movie, The Social Network? It was about like Mark Zuckerberg and his friends, and they would like code Facebook all day, and then at night they would have these huge parties.
That's exactly what it's like, yeah.
That's exactly what it's like in the tech industry, I was going to say.
Yeah, tech people aren't actually nerds at all. They're just super cool parties.
Party
all the time.
Tons of money and opportunity and, working it. As mentioned, we like to stream here in Figma. Figma had some big news this week.
Huge.
Did you hear? Like, it was pretty big. Adobe bought Figma. Adobe, everybody. I don't even need to say who Adobe is. They make XD, which I would think is maybe Figma's, I don't know. I don't want to say biggest competitor because who knows. They're going to be sunsetting their design software in favor of this $20 billion Figma deal. That's pretty cool.
Oh, is that what they're doing? They're killing XD?
Yeah, they're sunsetting their software. Like,
wow, cool.
What does that even look like? They're just like, it just doesn't work one day, or?
Yep, that's exactly what that looks like. Huh. They admit defeat. How about that?
Yeah, isn't that weird? I should probably cross-reference that at some point, but yeah, no, that's what's going on. So they paid a ton of money for it, and the story is, I don't get why this is true, but Adobe's stock went down after they purchased Figma.
Yeah, I guess people thought they paid way too much for it.
I guess.
And apparently the thing I saw was like buying, like they were, I guess, buying it to escape competition rather than to like add to their product. They're just kind of, especially if the fact that they're sunsetting their product, it's not like they added something really. They could, I guess they're adding a bunch of users, but I guess that it's not like they added a brand new like complementary product. It's like a kind of the same, they've got another of the same thing. So I guess I can see that.
It's kind of the same thing with a different tool set.
It's not insanely different. Like, it's not like Photoshop versus Figma. Those are two different tools that you would use side by side. Like, you would use you wouldn't compete. They don't compete with each other. You know what I mean?
That's
Or like Figma and I don't know. What doesn't compete with, or Adobe, and if Adobe bought, well, when Adobe bought, like, what was that? Did they buy like a typography service, Typekit or whatever it's called?
Yes, they did buy Typekit. I actually thought Adobe
that's a
started
win.
Typekit. I don't know if they bought it. Maybe they bought technology from a company. I don't know. But now it's just called Fonts. Adobe Fonts.
Pretend that they bought it. Yeah. So it's like, that makes sense. That's adding a new thing into the system, but they already had a design tool, I think was the argument.
Well, I think you could say, top of mind, you would think, well, for $20 billion, couldn't you just make Figma? That might not necessarily be true because of the sort of special spice that certain development teams have.
Well, and the answer is no, because they tried to make Figma and they got XD. So...
Yeah,
they couldn't make Figma.
Does Figma predate XD? I thought XD was trying to be Sketch or Envision.
Figma does predate XD, yeah, by a significant number of years.
Okay, and like
Figma's been around. It's one of those apps that became popular, and it seemed like they came out of nowhere. But then you're like, oh, they've been around for a while, like Firefox, when it's like, oh, that was popular, but actually it had been around for like a long time.
Firefox is back, baby, in terms of system performance and a few other key metrics. Firefox is actually pretty good. It's just insecure, but really what is? What isn't? Yeah, it's... Figma has a tremendous culture around their brand. Like their social machine is very fired up. The people who are like fans of the product are very dedicated to Figma. And I used XD for years because, like any other designer that's listening to this show, there's a high probability that you work for an agency or an organization and they pay for licensing, and you kind of use what the team uses. So I used XD for years, and like, it's a good piece of software. Like you can develop really comprehensive design. I think that now that I've been using Figma for a year and it's become like the primary thing that I use, my final synopsis on the whole thing is I think that XD has the Adobe toolset, which is very familiar to a lot of people. It has a really good workflow for building front end, but it was lacking all of the stuff, all of the component system stuff, and a lot of the organizational tools that Figma had to build design systems. Like building a design system in XD is considerably harder than Figma to me. And that's it. Nick sounds off on what tool is right. You know, it's kind of, there's still a lot of people that work with Sketch. What the hell is Sketch?
Yep. I haven't used it in a while, but I think they've probably caught up. Someone I work with uses Sketch. It's one of those situations where like different departments have a different tool set. And that's where you start to see, like, when you see logos on websites of like software where it's like Google and Apple, like these huge companies where you're like, oh, Google uses this. It's like, it might just be like a team of 10 people somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. Like we have, like we actually have all three. I don't think anyone uses XD where I work, but we have people that use like Photoshop or like those other tools for things. Like they'll maybe do like a vector, like Illustrator maybe. Is that what you use to make a vector?
Yep.
Anyway,
you knew that. You knew that, Ian.
Well, there's InDesign, which I'm getting confused with something else. But anyway, yeah. So they'll use Photoshop programs, and then the UX team uses. Well, I shouldn't even say the UX team. The people I work with use Figma, and then another UX team uses Sketch. So there you go. It's kind of funny.
It's tough to find a standard. I think with solutions like the way that you can hand files around with Figma, XD did it. It doesn't do it as well, but just the portability to be able to send people your prototypes and developers can work with it and stuff. Like, I don't think it's super necessary that everybody plays with the same software, but
no, as long as we don't have to edit each other's files in the end. Like, I'm not going to open Sketch and work inside of it.
No, I'm never going to work on anybody's files anyway, ever. Do you ever do that? No, I guess there's more collaborative things I've done, like little jams and stuff where everyone's working at the same time, but I would rather copy and paste everything into a new file where nobody knows where it is and continue working on it.
That's we used to work on the same. There used to be 3 of us that would kind of work on the same thing. That was interesting, but even then we'd work on different things, but we'd have to go in and edit each other's work. So that was where a design system came in handy, I guess. But yeah, that brings us to working in Figma.
One more thing I did want to mention on the Figma thing is that they're still committed to keeping the same service levels. So
that's good.
Right now, Figma is free for personal use and student use. It's like free-ish. You know, you get like a certain amount of projects that you can work on, and there's ways to get around that. I don't, you know, is Figma going to cost as much as XD? Or are you going to have to get Figma through the Adobe Creative Cloud? And are you going to have a $1,200 a year Creative Cloud membership that gives you access to corporate level Figma? Like, how's that going to work? I work in a place with Adobe licenses, so that will be fine. But for as much as they're saying, no, we're going to keep it like cool and chill, we're going to let Figma be Figma, and it's going to continue to be free for student and personal use. I'm curious because at the end of the day, like, Figma is significantly cheaper than any Adobe product.
Interesting. I was wondering that. Shoot. My theory is they're gonna find a way to double the price somehow, like whether that's a different licensing deal or just straight up make it use the same system they have now. But I hate Creative Cloud, where you have to have the Creative Cloud updater installed and it's always doing shit. I really hated that.
Yep, I hate it now. And you can turn it off. You can like close it. But the second you need to do anything or sync a typeface or...
Yeah, you can't really close it. You need it.
No, it doesn't. If you go through your shit, if you go through your shit on your machine, there's still like an Adobe sniffer watching what you're doing.
Yeah, oh man, Adobe's so in, isn't it? That's... I worry about the corporate side. It's like the prices for like at lower levels will probably be cheap enough. Like the free version, as long as there's a free version too, I think is great.
And they do.
You can, you know, then you can learn Figma, and then if you ever become in the position where you're using Figma to earn any money, then you can afford the next level. Like, what is it, $10 or $20 a month? Like, if you're making any money, then that's cheap. If Figma is the thing that's letting you make your money,
that's
reasonable to pay a small amount for it.
Yes.
But like I hope they don't get stupid with fucking corporate plans, because like that's what is part of what makes Figma good, is you can get we don't have the top one, I don't think. I don't know what we have, but a good one that's like a good team plan. And if they make that really expensive, because there's some software that I've looked at just for like other stuff, like research platforms or whatever, where it's like the normal people's plans are like cheap, but then if you want like the corporate level, like that I would want to add team members, it's like 10 times the price. And I'm just thinking, like, I got to talk to them and tell them, it's like, this price jump is insane. Like, what? I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? Like that. How do you? There's no way. Like, I don't know how you get people to buy this.
Because they're going like, anyway, well, your company makes $1 million a year.
You have to, I guess,
using our product. Like, that's their scapegoat. It's like, well, we can't sell it to you for the regular price because you're gonna go make like $150,000 a month with your big agency, and like, we want our cut of that. I think that's kind of bullshit. I was always kind of wondering if Figma was planning on getting more expensive anyway. Like, if they did an IPO, like a public offering, that would be a good opportunity to be like, by the way, now we do even more cloud storage and it costs $120 a month, but it's the best gold platinum package you can get.
That seems to be a baseline strategy for any new business that starts up these days, where it's like be cheap or free, and then eventually jack the price up. Like Uber's underpriced, you know, because they're just trying to get users. Like,
dude, do you remember
Netflix
Uber
used to be cheap, and now it's like $25.
I was having this conversation the other day. Do you remember Uber Eats and DoorDash were competing with each other at the beginning of the pandemic?
I don't recall.
There was like this 6-month where Uber Eats was sort of established and the pandemic happened. So now all of a sudden it was like hot shit. And DoorDash came and was competing with them, obviously on price. So you were constantly getting deals, and the delivery fee was non-existent, and they weren't charging extras on this and that. And anyway, it was just so cheap for a while. And now we're 2 years later into 2.5 years later into like the, what would you call a service like that?
What?
Like
Uber?
a DoorDash, like a food delivery. Anyway, we're years into this being a popular service, and now it's expensive as hell. Like if you were to get a burger on Uber Eats right now, you would probably end up paying like $12 or $14 more than like the sticker price. Anyway,
yeah, there's all it's pretty much you pretty much add $10 at least on 10 to 15 for Uber.
Yeah, it turns out nobody was making any money, and it was bad for everyone. All right.
What are we looking at here?
All right. Hard cut.
So,
the next segment.
Enough avoiding the topic of we
let's
forgot
just
what we
get
were
into
doing when we went away.
Well, right before we started the show, we started talking about this Adobe thing, and I had to go, no, save it for the show.
That's good content.
That's
we can't
good
talk
content.
No, don't.
We're gonna be like
don't
that
enjoy
in
a conversation
public.
right now. No,
We're gonna be at a
do
bar
that.
with our friends, and I'm gonna be like, Ian, come on, man, you can't talk about the internet around these people.
Shut it. We have
because
to
then we
save
have
the
to
good...
fake it on air, and it just comes across as insincere.
There was an episode of Parks and Rec where Amy Poehler, whatever her character's name was having a party and waiting for her boyfriend to show up, and she was doing the same thing. It's like, no, save your good stories for when he comes. I need to impress him. But this happens in the world.
For years? Do you ever watch a TV show for years and call the main character the actor's name in your head and never really learn it? Because I've definitely done that.
And sometimes I do the opposite, where it's like, I'd call them the character's name. Like Jerry Seinfeld. I have no idea what that guy's fucking name is. I just know him from the TV show.
Jerry Seinfeld? You're kidding, right?
I don't know his real name.
It's Are you get exhausted?
Yes.
Getting called that all the time.
I don't really know his real name.
He's in a new movie. They're doing the Santa Claus again. Remember the Santa Claus? So Tim Allen kills someone in his car, and that old man turns out to be Santa Claus. And if you kill Santa Claus, you become Santa Claus. And so that was the premise of the Santa Claus, which is a Disney movie starring Tim Allen. Anyway,
didn't Tim Allen actually kill somebody in his car for real?
I think he probably did something.
Cocaine?
I think he's like a right-wing nutbag. Probably. He had a forum at some point in time in the 2000s. This might have been the 2010s. You could go to timallen.com, and he maintained a web forum where he like hung out and talked to people, and they pontificated about God and stuff. It was a real wild time. Anyway, Ian, now that we've mentioned all that, can you give me a quick pitch about what we're working on here?
Yeah, well, just trying to dust off this project that we were working on before we went on hiatus here for vacation season, and pulling this off the shelf, and let's get this puppy back online.
Let's get this puppy.
So that's the thing that actually happens in the agency world is you put something on the shelf, and then you come back to it later, and then you gotta like open all your files up and kind of remind yourself of what you were doing. And that's where we are today. So what we were doing, we had this idea. What's on the screen? Twitter. Oh yeah, so it's Twitter without the tweets. Twitter isn't good, and I think when we came up with this premise like a month ago, I think we can look at Twitter now and say it's still not that good when you open Twitter and look at all the tweets that are on it. And
that's, for me, that's the biggest problem, I would say, is I look at all the tweets and they make me sort of sad and frustrated. It's like it's like you're really hungry, but you don't have any food and your stomach hurts. Anyway, keep going.
Yeah. It's not a good feeling. And, we're not alone in that. We know that we're not alone in that. So we're trying to design a thing with the help of AI, which we kind of recalled just right before the show started, which is super fun. A way we asked this AI bot how we could destroy Twitter. And it told us some interesting things, two of which were actually kind of useful to us, where it was like convincing everyone to stop using Twitter and exposing Twitter's hidden secrets and flaws to the public. And so we were kind of coming up with this idea for like a new app to kind of help people to jump over from using Twitter to using something else instead, to get their kind of get whatever's in their brain out there, get it off their chests, and to stop worrying about whatever they're worrying about. Because we notice a lot of people are going on Twitter to vent, and it's just kind of can be a turbulent place, an emotional place sometimes, actually kind of all the time. And
like
we need to give people,
and then other people get mad about it, and it's sort of a reciprocating.
It's just a snowball of negativity, really. And we want to help people avoid that, but we realize that we need to give them something. We can't just take this thing away from them. We need to replace it with something. So that's why we're coming up with our idea. And we want to make people we want to try and replicate some of the reasons that we think people are doing this for, which is like helping people feel heard.
Yes.
Provide some,
like, rather than you being responsible for, geez, we've done a lot of work on this, kicking around the canvas. So instead of you expressing how you feel, good or bad, and then somebody sort of jumping on that, and then you're not really feeling heard because an argument starts, or it just kind of goes into the meat grinder. We want our users to feel heard. You said a thing, we're very proud of what you said, and we're gonna kind of, how did we actually get to that? What did we decide?
Yeah, we've been kind of bouncing. We've been bouncing around here. I think we came up with our idea of like, all right, we have this new idea. Instead of tweeting onto like a news feed, there is no feed to read, but you can tweet or send your same thought that you wanted to send. But instead of it going into the ether of the feed, it goes to a qualified professional.
Somebody paid
who can then
to read your tweets that has some training to understand how to deal with it.
Exactly. And then they can give you a quick confirmation that they've acknowledged your worry. It is in the hands of them now. You no longer have to stress and worry about it. You can just let it go now. You can confidently let it go and move on with your life. And you might get a little bit of a tip back that's not too custom, and not something that requires a lot of time and thought to write, but just a little
sort of general. It's like, how do you respond to your uncle when he says something terrible? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like,
it's sort of a measured response. It's not, you're not going to argue about it.
I'm sorry to hear that, but you'll get through it. Or you got this, if you're worried about a job interview, or, there's we haven't got, that's as far as we've gotten. We're in the concept phase right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're in the concept phase, but really, that's kind of, I think you nailed the broad strokes of, rather than sending it out into the ether, you're going to get a qualified professional responding. This was all sort of, well, not all of it. It's worth noting that we asked an AI, we asked an artificial intelligence, some of these questions. Yeah, the what? How do I destroy Twitter? So we went to Open Labs. AI text generator, and was like, how do I destroy Twitter? I actually got flagged for that. I got like a warning. It was like,
cool,
don't ask the AI how to destroy things. It's just kind of like, okay.
What if I asked how to destroy war?
Humanity. They're like, no, just
how do I destroy racism? Haha, I gotcha.
Yo,
AI bot.
ask an AI that. You would get one of these generic responses that are like, there's no one size fits all option. Oh, look, that's the one we got here. But it actually did give us some bullet points on how to destroy Twitter. We can hack their servers, convince everyone to stop using it, exposing Twitter's hidden secrets. Isn't there one that was redesign Twitter better? Anyway, one of the answers we got back from the AI was like, design like a competitor that's even better.
No, it was convincing everyone to stop using Twitter. So that's the way we were going to convince everyone to stop using Twitter, was to make something better for them to use instead. And then we came up with our idea of the qualified professional, but then we're like, oh shit, what if this new idea is lacking something where it's like you get to be heard? And then that's when we asked Twitter, how can we help people feel heard? AI. And this is phase 2 of like, yeah, we need, all right, so we got kind of our app idea. We need a little bit of help to make sure that people feel heard. And so making sure we're giving them attention, letting them know and interested in hearing. And that's kind of where we got the idea of like a response back that's kind of like, yeah, we heard you. And then the other question of, yeah, forget about your worries. No surefire answer. Sure.
Yeah,
of course
it's every
not.
time.
Different people have different coping. Oh, positive. This is where we got like positive reinforcement and praise. So that's where we got that notion of like a little ping back that's an acknowledgement and also some kind of positive reinforcement back. Like, probably going to turn out to be really complicated, but you got this.
I would call that a key pillar. Like, these are two really good areas to focus.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get to that. We're talking about.
That's kind of where that's I think a refresher for our brains of how we got to all these pixels on the screen.
We should, along with like the note that you get back from the person, there should be a video of them reading your tweet, and like maybe like you can measure their facial expression somehow. Like, we really want people to feel heard, like the opposite interaction of Twitter. Anyway, we'll talk more about that. I think in some earlier episodes there were some pretty lofty ideas going around. I thought it'd be cool to hook this whole app to a printer, and then when you write a tweet, what you get is a live feed of that printer printing out your thoughts, and then it just blows off the edge of a building into like a city where someone may find it.
And that might feel kind of good too. Who knows?
All right. So, okay, we're talking about onboarding tonight because that's where we got last time.
Onboarding for our end user. And this is our like end user, of course, not our pro.
I'm going to follow you for a second while you explain this. So make sure you zoom in a little bit.
Okay. Cool. I'm going to try and do this in my own without having even read this in a while. Onboarding. So user, yeah. So yeah, we started off with onboarding because we thought that would kind of help us like think through like what this app is, because onboarding is kind of a good way to, or onboarding is kind of explaining. Part of that is explaining things to people, and I'm going to drop in this interesting definition I heard about onboarding from useronboard.com, that site that does teardowns. You've probably seen it before. Okay. They just do like a step-by-step like teardowns on different onboarding processes. But they say onboarding is the process of radically increasing the likelihood that new users become successful when adopting your product.
Okay.
In smaller words that Grammarly would probably say is better. So it's basically making sure that people are able to use your product and successfully and get something out of it. So for us, that's like understanding what it is and probably,
yeah,
I would say like even walking them through their first tweet, right? So that's kind of like what we're doing here. With that, I don't know, your typical kind of swipe through the dots thing. Is there a way to call a carousel? Is there something you'd call this?
I would call that a carousel, and I would call it a horizontal carousel, and I would call those pips.
Pips. Cool. I like that better than dots. And yeah, so this is our kind of process, our screens, just explaining what the app is, I guess, is where we were. It's okay. You're going to be okay. That's kind of cool. I like our positioning here.
Well, so we're doing a lot.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah. We wanted to hit them right off the bat. I actually don't remember what the joke is because I think that we were probably laughing when we made these 4 things.
Yes, we were definitely joking about just this is new Twitter and it's going to be way better. I think kind of being trying to
one step at a time. Yeah,
trying to be all of your tweets receive a thoughtful response written by staff. Like this is actually pretty good. Never worry about anything ever again. We've done it. We've solved all people's woes.
Well, and a part of that concept at one point was like specific to worry. Like tell this person what you're worried about and then you'll never have to worry about it again.
Exactly. It's good. It's leaving. It's almost like it's not copy and paste. It's a cut and paste. It's like you as soon as you cut that worry and paste it to them, it's gone out of your head. You're not duplicating it. You're moving it. It's gone.
I think we've expanded on that though, because now it's not a worry. It could be a vent. It could be a gripe. It could be something that made you happy, although that's not why people use Twitter, so we can't. That's like a fringe case.
That's pretty shitty content. No one positive stuff doesn't get. The algorithm doesn't like positivity. Negativity works better. Studies show. Right? Facebook did that study, right? That experiment that showed like negative things work better. They get more engagement via like hateful. They really did like an experiment on users where it was like manipulating the content they were seeing to try and see if they could manipulate their emotions or something. And yeah, turns out like you can get people angry. I forget I'm probably butchering it. It's not good to like be wrong about research, but something like that.
Well, I mean,
So
you read a bit.
Yeah, I read an article.
So what? Yeah, but I mean that's so you could maybe file that under salacious, like salacious content. Anything that is sort of controversial or it's like YouTube videos. All the thumbnails are exaggerated to be like, this video has a blowing up car, but they don't blow up the car. They never blow up the car. That was a terrible example.
It's the opposite of Chekhov's gun.
Okay.
Where
I'm familiar.
Chekhov's gun is like in a movie, if they show a gun, then it's like in a movie, if you see a gun in a scene, it's like there's gonna be they have to use that gun later. It's like never show a gun without actually using it. But in a thumbnail for YouTube,
it's like a tight shot of anything in a movie. You're like, oh, that matters.
Yeah, and you can kind of tell. It's called Chekhov's gun for some reason that I don't know, but that's kind of the opposite with YouTube thumbs. It's like if it's in the thumbnail, it probably isn't in the video at all.
Yeah, usually. And YouTube like loves it.
Loves it.
Love it. So what?
So this is it. Yeah, that's where we're at. You can send the thing.
Yep, ship it. I think that we need to. Okay. This is kind of the problem we run into here a lot. Is like, where do we start with all of this? Like, I would think that the real way that you would do it is like. What's the right way to look at this? What do we work on?
I mean,
do we look at the value proposition and like take a shot at writing this copy like for real? Maybe by
I don't think so.
Maybe by working through this onboarding, we get a better understanding of what we want the app to actually do. Do we?
I think that's what I would do. Like, like we kind of have like this hello username and then a text box. So that's kind of, and then a confirmation screen. So that's. That's the basis of it. But I think if we say like, okay, like what's the if we ask ourselves like what has to go in between these, like there's definitely some gaps, right? Like,
I mean,
we can start
it seems
thinking
kinda
through
boring
what
and
has to happen.
Yeah.
Sending your first, like, what's this first user happy path? What happens after the onboarding?
I showed
like
up
now
just
what?
kind of hoping you were going to tell me that.
Damn. Yeah, I was kind of hoping you had an idea actually. But what happened? Like we hit here, then what? Is this the screen that really comes next?
Well, sort of. It looks sort of boring and sterile and kind of terrible and bad. Okay.
We even talked about making people sign up, and then that was like, do we want to really get into designing that process?
Potentially we could get there.
We could. I mean, yeah, what's the next step? Continue. Sign in with the joke could be you sign in with Twitter, and then it automatically deletes your account for you. That's kind of funny. You know how you have social sign-in options?
Yeah.
So this is this would be the home, like what we'd call a home screen, right? Or a home page. You say if it's in an app, do you call it a page or a screen? What's the answer?
I never call it a screen.
Okay.
I would be more likely to call it a panel.
Or a view panel.
A view
I don't know.
I usually use I'll use view, but like in the context of like we have the same panel or page many times, but there's different views of it. Like this one you're logged in, this one you're logged out, this one is, whatever.
Okay.
You have no internet connection. This one's an error, and those are all
that works more for
the same page.
That works more better. I would call them states, but same thing. I don't know. When I'm on, if it's web and then it's page, but yeah, I mostly do web. So now that we're talking about an app, the app people call it a screen apparently, and they're like kind of adamant about it, I think. And I'm like, oh, interesting. I guess that's what it should be called. I don't really know. I wouldn't have called it a screen because to me, a screen is already a thing, like a monitor, like my laptop, like my phone has a screen on it, and then
I wouldn't call it
an
a
app
screen.
would have pages.
It's not, the screen is like the glass part of your device.
Yeah, I know. I mean, whatever.
That's not it. But I've worked on lots of apps before, and I've never had anyone correct me. But they were probably just.
I don't know what I've said. I must have said page. But yeah, I just wanted to know your opinion on that. I'm gonna keep calling it page until I get corrected.
It's a page.
I wonder what Apple calls it. Probably something weird. I bet they call it like a view or like a controller. I don't know. Stuff. Some of the things has weird. Some other things have funny names.
You and I should talk later, and I can give you a 100% real answer to that question.
Okay.
Whoosh, we're on it.
I mean, that's a good page.
Yeah, that's a good page. Hey, that's a great page. My issue right now. Okay, I'm having a ton of issues. This text on this front panel isn't working. It's funny, but it needs to be something more like. It needs to be something like the second one. Let's ditch that.
Keep it and put that at the end. Because I like that text, but you're right. It doesn't describe anything. Swap that with make that the fourth one, and then move each one of these over one. You know what I mean?
Okay. I'll probably pull that hello. Pull these gradients too.
Yes. Yeah. Perfect. So it's like, hey, this is the new Twitter. Here's how it works. Never worry again. And then.
Okay, we could.
And then I think it should. Then it can be a big CTA that's like, hey, it's gonna be okay. Join now. These are not lined up, but.
I'm just going to take some very brief notes down at the bottom here.
This is where it's like, okay, now there's no more subtle sign up. There's the full sign up button. I'm just hacking this together to see what.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't know.
This all goes with saying that this is a live stream and we're not following a proper design process. I guess the reason that I keep jumping back here is because I feel like if we can get this straight, we can attack that first panel with like a certain.
Yeah, this isn't even that improper. I've had way more improper processes than this. This is pretty good. This is my top 10.
Well, you know those process geeks out there, and I'll tell you, they're usually Figma users. I'm just saying, Figma people, you're way into it, and I love you for it. That's why I'm here.
Just built different.
They're just built different. A qualifying line that explains how it works. So we tell you what it is, we tell you how it works. We explain how this benefits you. Explain how this is of a benefit to you.
You could even swap these two.
Compelling call to action.
But I like it. I like these things.
Yeah, I mean,
you could. They always say start with sell benefits, so you could say like, never worry again here. But I think that's where I would be like, let's regroup with the team and talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, otherwise you're going to get into perfectionism.
Well, not even perfectionism. It's like wild conjecture that we can't back up without research.
Yeah, this is cool. This is good. I mean, it's good onboarding. I like this, and this is like, yeah, this brings it all in. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. Okay? Question marks? Did you sign up? I don't know if it should be join now or continue, but whatever. You know what I mean. And then yeah, I mean, that's where we can decide like, no, you can't send a tweet without joining.
No, you don't actually get to do that. I mean, you could do one of those teaser kind of deals where it's like you start writing the tweet, like you start interacting with it before it asks you to sign up, but I don't know.
At the end, yeah, I mean, most stuff, every app requires you to create an account, and sometimes that's annoying, but what are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? Not play Candy Crush? You're not gonna do that. You're a user. We have a name. We have a name for people like you. They're called users.
A user.
You're just a user. Okay, so we explain what our app does. We give them a qualifying line that explains how it works. We explain how this is a benefit to them, and we provide them with a compelling call to action. Cool.
And then it's what? Yeah, I guess we have to decide what we want next. Is it? I mean, yeah, we could do continue. You write your tweet, and then nah, that's dumb. Start now, whatever. It doesn't matter what the button says.
Well,
join. I mean, it does, but
let's get rid of join now and say something like get going.
Get started. That would be
get started. That's the universal one.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Something fun.
Get your engine running.
Vroom.
All right, get started. Type that as loud as physically possible.
Cool. And then so the next, I guess, I mean, then we're into like boring sign up panels. If we don't want to design a sign up panel, we could not. And we could come back to it too. But that's what we need. That's what we need next, right?
Let's just let's just keep jamming on it. Ian, that brings us up to a few minutes shy of an hour. We are going to take a quick break here.
Yeah, let's mull on it for 5.
If you're watching this later, it won't be a break. It'll be like a 10-second like sort of sting, and then we'll be back in the action. So yeah,
like on real TV. Talk to you soon.
On real TV. Let's cut to the sponsors. No, really, we will be back in 5 minutes, and we'll get to actually making some of this.
The battle of wizards and warriors continues with iron swords. The evil wizard Malkill will take the shape of the earth, wind, water, and fire. Farewell! The fate of the world is in your hands!
here to change the game up. I'm here to shuffle up the deck. You'll probably think I'm famous because I got a blue check. I remember playing ball up in Montreal.
All right, and we're back. Thank you very much. We took a quick break. We had a couple comments in chat that I didn't even think to check. Have you tried outlining your flow with lo-fi screens? That's a really good point.
Yeah, how about
normally
that? Shout out to chat.
I think in any project we know there's a proper process in place where you should start by, very, very, very lo-fi. But for the purposes of this stream, we just kind of like to jam on dumb ideas. So that's why we're working the way that we're working right now.
Yes. Yeah, lower fidelity usually would be the case, but yeah, we just like jamming on dumb ideas, I think is the key. And we have no one else to like show this to, so we're kind of self-approving our own lo-fi ideas as we make it. Like we've got no one to like show to get approval or feedback on, really.
Like
I guess
if you're a vendor or you're a designer trying to nail down an idea for a client, you should absolutely be working as lo-fi as possible. Get all those ideas out first. Fail fast, right, Ian?
Definitely want to fail really fast and fail often. Sometimes I try and just fail. And it's something that's going well. I'll just try and figure out a way to fail it.
Well, do you remember web design?
That's cool.
Do you remember web design back in like?
Oh, I failed. It's like, good try.
You just showed up with 3 like fully designed websites. You're like, which one do you like? And you would make one good idea that you, the designer, really believed in, and then you would make 2 you'd make like a second one because you were trying, and the third one was just like, I don't know. I told you I'd give you 3 options, so here you go. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, I don't know. We're just playing around. There's definitely better design process to follow here.
But we will get there at the same rate. What were we just talking about? I had a thought.
I don't know. Onboarding? App onboarding?
Onboarding. We're onboarding. Yeah, we're going through the onboarding.
So, this is a really basic onboarding process, I think, where we're just kind of warming up users. I don't want to say tutorialize. I've worked on some features before that are more like tutorials, which is kind of cool because that's, I think, when you get into the actual, like, here's how you use it. Hit this button. Go here. But for the sake of this, we're going to let users know what it does for them, and then get them into the app. So, okay, we did that. We're getting started. Do you want to talk about a sign-up screen? Do you want to talk about forms for a little bit? Because I feel like we've got this home panel. Like, this is like where you complete your base of operations. This is, I mean, the visual presentation is really bad, and we'll figure that out at some point in the future. But like,
we don't.
This is boring. Like, I want.
That's not the next
It should
screen,
feel like you're sort of like touching. Like, do you remember that painting where the guy's reaching out and he's touching the angel's finger? You know, the Renaissance era painting. We kind of want to create that feeling here.
Yeah.
For users, you know what I mean? They're touching the hand of God. Maybe.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Right?
We want that.
Okay.
We want a very, very powerful feeling. Like a powerful reaction. We want to elicit the same emotion that thing does.
Exactly.
So, I mean, a sign-up screen, I kind of feel like we might not want to get too much into the weeds about sign-up, but we should at least put something down.
Well,
just to satisfy our brain, because then it's like, let's pretend that they successfully sign up, and then what's the next thing that they see?
I mean, we've done
I think it's kind of like this one, right? Maybe with some like, hey, type your first thing.
Okay. Is it a type your first thing, or like, is this part of onboarding? Like, once you get started, I'm now asked to type a thing. Do I have to type a thing to get started?
What else can you do?
You land on the home screen and the UI tells you everything you need to know.
I'm just reading here. His.
I know. It's been a long time since I read anything, I think, or worked on an onboarding process where I was into reading about some of the proper science behind it, and it's really compelling. You know, a lot of really big apps will do neat things when they're onboarding users or make clever decisions about how they introduce users to the idea. For me, if I was onboarding with a new app, like I got new Twitter, I was down for this value proposition, I downloaded the app, I would be bummed out if it forced me to take an action before I was into it.
Okay, let's start here then. I think, yeah. So if they don't send that, then yeah, what else is there? We still have to give them the option to create that. So
yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, this screen needs. Yeah, I think we just need something else. Like these things probably can go away.
I don't think they need to have any kind of prominence on there. I think the reason that we had these here before, well, we'll just pull them. The reason that we had that stuff there before was because what if you had sent many messages and some of them were still pending or in review? Like, what would you do there? But yeah. Let's just start fresh.
Let's
You've
go.
accepted the whole thing. You signed up for your account. You've got your very first tweet. Let me pull that a little bit. Oh my god, I broke it. Wait, do we want to just duplicate this screen? Yes. Let's do that. Oh, whoa.
Now how? Oh yeah, that was
this
there.
Guy. That's a nice avatar. Pull him out of there for later. We'll use the raccoon for now.
Oof. That's annoying, Figma.
Well, that's a fun tip.
Just as a good check of like, how can we increase the likelihood that they will be successful when adopting our product?
Well, and I feel like
what is successful? Sending a thing and getting a reply back, I guess.
Giving your app out without forcing users to sign up. Yeah. I think in this case we've taken an approach where we're just trying to explain what it is. Like, we feel like we have an app with an inherent benefit. It's like Twitter, but without all the stress. You're really going to love it. That's the angle we're taking here, is kind of like a sales approach.
And it's given us the go ahead, sales approach. Oh no, I was going to say we've given the like description, kind of telling people what it is, and now this is more like the guided approach, I guess. And I'm kind of thinking about what you said about forcing people to do it. So it kind of makes me think it could be a good approach, but should we give people an out as well? Because it reminds me of when we were talking last week and I was checking out Webflow.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me through a similar thing, but I could skip it because it was like, okay, now click over here. It was kind of the same thing where it's like, all right, write your tweet and now click send. Where we're talking about, it was like, okay, add a new button and now change the font size over here. And you had to like do it. And it was good, but if I couldn't skip it, it would have been awful. Like I wanted to see it just because I was curious, but if you didn't want it, it would be absolutely awful. So I like the idea of an out.
I'm the person who always hits skip.
Yeah, but the skip here would just bring you to
to this step, I would think, or bring you to the sign up.
The sign up, yeah, I suppose. I like to hit skip in theory, but I always go through it just to see. I'm like, oh, what are people? See if I can pick up any cool tips.
I think too, you could probably incorporate some graphics in here that talk about the specific features. So, you know,
I used an app that had
not fully tutorializing it, but you could add stuff in here that graphic of
like of a reply
written tweet. Oh, of a reply. Okay,
because that's there's the response that matters to you. Show someone relaxing.
Graphic of consultant reviewing your tweet. We're still calling them tweets
for now.
I think we sort of have to. Do you think
we're
that
probably not a
term is copywritten?
I am imagining we couldn't really call it that, but that's okay. This is a fake app that's not real yet, so we'll just do find replace at the end. What's up? Testing.
Here? Okay, Ian. Tell me you can hear me. I wonder how long that blackout was going on for. I bet you we lost all our concurrents. Damn. Bye, y'all. It was fun to see you. Ian, I don't know if you can hear me, but I can't hear you.
Oh, yeah. I had
okay,
mine
hey, you're back.
I was trying different channels on my end.
How long was that going on for?
Like a minute. I sent you a message, so it's not a big deal.
Let me see how long that came in ago.
I muted my end.
Cut. Damn. Well, what I was saying was, the term tweet is so ubiquitous that how could you copyright it? Like, how could you talk about what happens in the earth day to day, every day, without mentioning that term? So maybe it's just not able to be copywritten, but we probably wouldn't be able to use it in our app.
Yeah, legal will worry about that.
Yeah, legal will worry about that. Well, I'm gonna get the audio figured out. So yeah, we can intersperse these panels with some graphics. I think that sort of cut to the heart of what we want users to understand. Graphic of consultant reviewing your tweet. I think we need some like stock photos of scientists, you know, looking at beakers, white lab coat kind of people in a clean facility, something like that.
Yeah, this is
all these carousels.
It's not a joke. We're not fucking around.
We're not fucking around. This is a big part of onboarding. one of our key pillars, this is part of the pitch that you give to people. One of the pillars, the key pillars in users interacting with New Twitter that we want them to know about is that we are absolutely not fucking around here.
This is a real
This is a real app you can put on your phone right now.
Solving, yeah, this is all real. As real as you are.
Okay, wow. Am I? Okay, so we'll get some graphics on these panels. I'm just throwing in some lo-fi placeholder stuff because we'll deal with it later. I'm going to separate these text boxes like a big boy because that's how you're supposed to treat your assets. Hug that content. We should get together on one of these projects sometime and write the brief, like, beforehand.
We should.
Because I think that's where we get into, like, okay, let's just start with wireframes and we'll just, like, hammer out the idea or whatever. Let's expand on that text a little bit.
Sign up page, that's all pretty standard. We can imagine what would be on that.
Sign up page and stuff. Well, we've done episodes about forms before, but we could actually do like an episode where I mean, that's a whole huge conversation.
I feel like that would just be copying like the UX article that's like the best sign up page
form.
UX.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah. Well, there's
that's
different.
Why I'm not
I
as
mean,
interested in it.
You could maybe talk about different contexts. Like,
there's
probably
the social sign-in stuff that's interesting, and now I think I forget the exact requirements around it. But if you have an app in the App Store and you offer social sign-in, I think you have to offer the Apple sign-in now too. You know, Apple has its like there's all I know is there was a deadline for that sign up with Apple where it hides your email address thing, and now all the apps have it. So it's kind of awesome. If I go to Twitter, sign up with Apple. If you want to be in the app, which is pretty cool, I like it. Join Twitter today. So, oops. There.
Stream health here. Yeah, I know. Does that not look like it's from 2012 or something? I was never a social sign up guy, and now I am. Particularly with my Google account, because I feel like I have some sort of trust in how Google's going to handle that.
I do it with Apple when I don't care. Like I always use my email because I'm like, how will I ever remember what way I did it for what site? I don't even know if that's a real issue, but I do it with Apple now if I don't care, because you can hide your email address, and so they can't.
Yeah, that's cool.
Get it, but then I'm like, well, how am I ever going to remember?
I can't help but feeling like that whole play by Apple to block some of that information was just to filter out the competition, right? Because Apple is still definitely tracking everything that you do and selling it to who they want. I'm assuming.
I'd be surprised if they were, because their whole like pitch is that they don't do that. I think one day that they're going to have to realize that it would be more profitable to do that, but they can't. I don't think so. That doesn't mean that you know it can't be hacked, but no, Apple. I don't think Apple's selling anything.
put space in there. Oh, there's two of them. That was the problem the whole time. Okay, cool. Just shifting elements around.
2 raccoons. What is that? Oh, that's this thing. What?
So Twitter is pretty Twitter's pretty straightforward with this. They just have your box at the top here. And then your feed. I've got some IGN news here. So we're similar, but we don't have a feed. Like, we're sort of prompting users to do the same thing. Like, tell us how you're feeling. Twitter says, what's happening? I couldn't have told you that unless I looked for some reason. I could start a poll. In the future, we could offer a polling service, but it's like, what? Oh, sorry.
Shit, I just opened Twitter now, and I'm just like,
Dude, I did the same thing. I fucking opened Twitter, and I saw some bullshit hashtag, and I was like, there's no way that's true. People are just, like, riffing on it. Anyway, yeah, so I think the basis of that interaction is the first thing that you see on the page is your box. You know where your tool is. It's a little bit different because ours isn't so time sensitive. Like, the nature of Twitter is to, like, speak in the moment, I think, as things are happening.
Yeah. But if there's anything below that, that might be where like your replies come into play, or your previous things.
Yeah, not that I want to model that entirely, but like that. I mean, that is the approach. It's like, you're gonna land, and you got your stuff. You got your thing you can do. Say your thing. Shout your vile bullshit into the internet right here. I'm not better. Why did I make that frame? There we go. So do you remember a Therapy Gecko?
Yep.
He was a guy. I think he still does it. I think he actually might be huge on YouTube, but Lyle Forever.
He's got some big guests, but he hasn't blown up yet, really.
So he always asks this one question.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I spelled persistent wrong. No, I didn't. I was right.
Figma.
That's my biggest fear with like remote. What is the most persistent thought on your mind lately?
Cool. Let's roll with that, baby. Good. I like that. Yeah, I like a good kind of prompt of helping people figure out what to do with this. And that's a good one. Like help people. I mean, for us, it doesn't matter, I guess, so much because it's like a kind of what's on your mind, but this is still helpful. It's not like it's not like this is an AI bot where you have to kind of think about how you ask, how you talk to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's really just get that thought out, get that worry out, write that script, start your side hustle, you know.
Therapy raccoon.
That's not working. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm doing front end while I do this. I know it's terrible.
That's okay. It's got to get done sometime.
That's like you and I were talking the other day, not too long ago, of like, I mean, if I'm the only designer working on this, why don't I just make whatever the hell I want?
Yeah, we're
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like the idea of, I don't know if I even want to die on that hill. I guess the idea of working in low fidelity is to slap down ideas quick. Now, I'm not going to argue against that. That's stupid. Never mind. Let's move on. Ian, come on. Why did you want to coax me into that conversation?
Just trying to get the drama going.
Yeah, it's
for
true.
The clicks.
Well, I was thinking if we had Keemstar like fucking up in our shit, right? Because we had some stuff going on, that'd do huge for the channel.
Yeah, I would take any type of attention at this stage, negative attention.
Totally.
I could spin a bit of that into. We could spin that into gold. You know.
No, fucking totally fine.
We gotta, if we piles and piles of hatred, I'm sure we could get 100 like legit subs out of that. We would need to build this app to like
no, we're not
get all of our emotional pain out to some professionals, but
we could be like YouTube boxers.
Yeah, I would fight in Creator Clash. I would fight. I would box
you, and like the day before, you'd be like, "Oh fuck, I actually have to do this."
You just get a headache, and you're just like, "Oh, I don't want to do this." I would fight somebody my weight that also had the same experience as me, which is none. Because iDubbbz, who fought Dr. Mike, it's like, yeah, he was doing like fitness boxing, but he's still learning to box. Like he obviously was very much more prepared than iDubbbz, who had like 6 months of training.
Of all of the YouTube boxing things that seem to go on nowadays, I actually really liked Creator Clash because of that.
Yeah,
like
that's what I liked
everybody
about
tried.
it.
Everybody tried their best, even if you were like wearing a helmet and you didn't want to get knocked out or whatever. It was like everybody took it super seriously, and that's what made it fun. That first one with Nate Barnett's dad character.
He's going to be in the second one. The Creator Clash 2, he is in.
When his Creator Clash 2?
It's not announced yet, but he has announced that he's in it.
There's like a Creator Clash 2, everything we know right now article at the top here.
Who else is in it?
iDubbbz is in there with his little dad belly, which I can relate to. Would there be a Creator Clash 2? For anyone who is watching the stream and doesn't know, there's a YouTube boxing match called Creator Clash, and it was hella entertaining.
That's pretty good. Yeah, people that didn't know how to box, really, and they just kind of learned and fought each other.
That was the first one in May. Yeah, I hope they do it again. I saw that Sam Hyde actually got to do a YouTube boxing match and just like beat someone within an inch of their life and then like openly threatened Hassan. Like Sam Hyde, they were like, the post-fight interview in the ring. And he's going, Hassan, I'm going to kill you. And the interviewer goes like, in the ring? And he goes, no, I'm going to his house in LA and I'm going to kill him right now. It's like, holy shit, that's brutal. I hate Sam Hyde.
I don't know if you can joke about that.
I'm not a big fan.
According to the police, you can't. Like,
yeah, you can't just like openly
like that's how you in America. That's how you get yourself taken out. Anyway, yeah, that's a weird thing to do. Hassan doesn't want to fight anybody anyway. He's like, I'm not going to get punched in the head.
Why would you? I don't know anything about Hassan other than like he streams on Twitch, and if like you're making $4 million a year streaming video games on Twitch, why would you want to fight people?
Oh, exactly.
Like, who would want to do that? I'm gonna sit home all day and eat ramen is what I'm gonna do.
And he's making that per month, so
I saw a Vice documentary about Amaranth.
Oh yeah.
Everybody knows Amaranth. And this is like, you know, on the video, and she's pretty straight up with like the documentarian, but she's like, yeah, breaking down her revenue sources, and she's like, I make $100,000 a month from Twitch, and I make like $100,000 a month from YouTube, and then I make $1.3 million a month from OnlyFans, and I was like, fuck, man,
that's insanity. When it rains, it pours. Like when
yeah,
at that level, if she wanted to make another $1 million a month, she could just put the work in. Like, I'm not saying it's easy, but once you have that audience, it's like come up with a good idea and execute it. Like, was she the one that was selling her farts in a jar?
No, it wasn't farts. I don't even know how to pronounce
Delphine
this.
was selling
Belle Delphine. She was selling
water.
her bathwater.
I think Amaranth was selling her farts for $1,000 each.
I bet you she fucking sold them in like an hour. That's the sad
Someone
part
was
about
selling
the
them.
internet.
Someone was literally, because one of the people from one of those reality shows, like The Bachelorette, was also selling her farts. And she was making so much money that she started to having to eat like food that made her fart, and she got really sick. And had to go to the hospital. No, we just can't talk about
but this
serious
is
subject matter.
But these are the people that are in the streaming community that are making all the money. And I mean, I do agree, when it rains it pours. It's similar to YouTube. Like we're doing a dumb stream. We have like a fun idea, but when you hit, I think that you hit. Like if you're I don't know who hit on YouTube lately. What is big on YouTube lately?
Channel 5. I mean,
well, it's like Channel 5's huge.
I guess they're sort of already big, I guess.
Anyway, all that to say, yes, when it rains, it pours. I'm happy for them. If you're making $1.3 million a month selling your farts on the internet, you rule. Like, you win the trophy. You won. You'll be happy forever because
anyone pissed off at that is low key jealous. That's really
they
it.
Are, for real.
Like that's
the stream
not really
took a dark turn.
What?
The stream took a dark turn.
Yeah, what are we doing? Not that dark.
Comments are like, was having a good time, learned a lot about the internet until
Speaking of dark turns, I'm trying to make a version of the button that's disabled.
Okay.
Or differently enabled. It is kind of ugly, but just in the spirit of the flow, you can't click this because there isn't anything typed.
I don't think that the change is severe enough. I think you would probably.
It kind of looks like a real button still.
Further. Okay, so you gave it some pass through and like changed the color. I would.
That was a lo-fi solution. It got the job done, but it wasn't final.
Well, I'm just thinking about this here now. It's the green background on the. Any green background says proceed. Like you're good to go.
Yeah.
So maybe green was just like an unfortunate choice in the first place, but I mean, we
should
could
just be
that.
gray.
You could also just opaque it the fuck out. Like it looks just barely visible.
The word send now, you know how like when you look at a word too long, it ruins it. I can't. I was like, that's not how you spell send. I'm like, oh wait, yes it is.
And do you know what makes it even worse is all caps.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just like destroys the continuity of the word. And when I'm browsing things on the internet, I never notice all caps because everything is all caps. But yeah, I might actually get that out of there. Full send, brother.
I'm gonna send it. Yeah, I guess that's what's our style guide on that? No caps.
Oh shit, dude. Sure. Sure. Yeah, I like no caps. I also like. I don't like a capitalized first letter. Maybe we should though, because that's the right thing to do. But let's see how okay looks. All right. Yeah. Okay.
That looks okay.
Capital K's. That's our style guide. We are planning on working on a real website here soon. We've been doing some freelance work in the background, and we've been talking. So one of the goals for this stream was, how cool would it be if we could work on a real website for a real organization? So Ian went out and did that and found a budget. And so we've got a site that we're going to be working on. We're hoping probably, I think we're slated to start design in November. It might happen a little bit earlier than that, depending on how things go. But I'm interested in doing that because I think that's a good opportunity for me and you to like start at the ground level
and actually
with a definitive goal and business goals and like all the sort of yummy stuff that design projects have.
Yeah, that way we can't glaze over anything or leave anything out. Like, it's got to be, and that's where we probably will start with some lo-fi stuff like wireframes and information architecture. It's going to be an exercise, I think, a lot in organizing information and like how do you navigate around this site and find information. So it's not going to be like an application like this that we're making. It'll be more or less an informational site without anything super crazy, like in terms of like functionality. But it's really interesting. Yeah, we're stoked to work on it. It's a cool project, and I think it'll be interesting to work on the stream. How we'll have to figure out what that looks like. Obviously, we won't live stream the whole thing because that would be hours, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll take it in chunks. Like maybe we'll separate it into each piece, or
Yeah, and we have a research component that we're working on now, so that's kind of not exactly stream-worthy material, but it is going to lead us into the design of the project and inform that. Maybe we'll have a cool visual we can show, like a report. Well, there'll be charts and stuff. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. Obviously, of course. Thank you so much for popping by. We're just about to 2 hours here, so I think we're kind of wrapping up on the stream. But yes, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to the hitherShow@gmail.com. That's the hitherShow@gmail.com. Otherwise, I don't know, just hit us up on YouTube. I don't know, we're here.
Hit us up. Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to be going through this. We're on a roll now, and we've got a cool, real project that's going to be fun.
In the works. Okay, yeah, that's it. Let's call it quits. We did some onboarding for the Twitter non-Twitter app. Yeah, do you got anything left to say, Ian?
No, that's it.
Nothing about how Figma is bowing to the corporate overlords and
stay strong, Figma. Be cool.
Yeah, we're thinking about you, Figma. Keep frames. Just keep frames in that meeting room when Mr. Adobe is there with his big cigar in his mouth and he's yelling at you. Just keep frames. Don't get rid of frames.
Always be framing. We support you.
That's a good one. Always be framing. All right, night. Peace.